Okay, welcome back to the Saber Order. In this video, we're going to do a ranking list on all the movies in the saga, 1 through 9, and the spin-off films. So we're going to start with me, and then we're going to do Parker next. Alright, so I'm going to start with my own ranking list. So first up is Solo. Solo's pretty good. I wouldn't put it in garbage, even though I don't really like it, but I'm not really a big fan of the spin-off film, so I'm going to stick it in okay. It's good, but it's definitely not the best Star Wars film, but it's still enjoyable. Alright, next up is pretty much the only other film for now, or a spin-off film, and it's Rogue One. I'd say Rogue One's definitely better than Solo. It definitely actually adds to the storyline, even though it wasn't really necessary. It adds more to the storyline, introduced new characters, and it was pretty enjoyable. Okay, next is Rise of Skywalker. I'm definitely going to put this in good, and probably above Rogue One, because it's actually enjoyable. People, always meme it, but it was still definitely a good movie, and especially for how, bad I personally think the 8th movie was, it still felt like a good Star Wars film and had a fun ending. The 8th movie, I'm just going to stick it in bad. I don't really have to say too much about it. I don't think they ruined Luke, but I think they didn't really do too much, and it was a failed mission. The 7th movie. Okay, the 7th movie, that was actually a really fun movie. I'm definitely going to stick it in good tier, and yet again past Rogue One, because I think Rogue One's definitely not going to be the best movie in that tier. But the 7th movie was definitely really enjoyable, brought back some of the old characters, and brought some new characters. Okay, Return of the Jedi. I say it would be my favorite film, but I think it'll definitely stick at my second favorite film. There's another film later on this list I'll rank higher. But Return of the Jedi's fun. Obviously has a good ending, and has the Ewoks. Some people don't like the Ewoks and rank this movie lower, but had the Darth Vader turning, killing Palpatine, Luke fighting Vader. It was a pretty good movie, and I like the first act in the Jabba's palace. Also, some people don't like that either. Okay, next, Empire Strikes Back. Honestly, this movie's overrated, but it doesn't make it bad. It was still a super fun movie with Hoth. So it had Luke going to Dagobah, training with Yoda, and then pretty much what the main portion was Cloud City. Had a bad ending, which I kind of like. Obviously, it wasn't really like Revenge of the Sith, where it literally ended on a bad note, but it was still a bad ending. So I have A New Hope. See, A New Hope is overrated, and I'm going to say it's overrated in a way where I'm actually going to rank it lower. It was good, and it's obviously a budget film, first film for Star Wars, great music, first time ever, good scenes like the binary sunset. But if you really think about it, it was just kind of Luke and Obi-Wan first meeting, them and Han meeting, and then finding Alderaan blown up, and pretty much just rescuing Princess Leia. And at the end of that, they blow up the Death Star. Good movie, but I think it's overrated, and for the movies I like, I'd say it's definitely lower, but it's not a bad movie. Okay, Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, obviously, I'm going to rank it high. It's pretty much everyone's favorite film. Yet again, it is overrated, but for a good reason. And, I mean, Clone Wars kind of saved the movie and made more people like it, but I pretty much always liked the prequels, even when it was kind of a thing to dislike the prequels. Obviously, it has a bad ending, shows the Anakin turn. He's one of my favorite characters. And pretty much just has so much happen. The Jedi Order falling, Order 66. There's not very much bad about this movie. Okay, second to last, we have Attack of the Clones. I actually, personally like this movie. Battle of Geonosis kind of carries it, but it's definitely, a pretty good film. Has good action at the end, Yoda versus Dooku, which is a great character. The start's kind of slow, but it's still enjoyable to see, first of all, Anakin's development and his kind of dark side. So I'm going to rank this film a bit high, but, it's still flawed. Okay, last and sort of least is The Phantom Menace. It's a slow film. The pod racing's fun. Seeing young Anakin, even though the acting in the prequels wasn't that great, his acting was fine, especially for his age. But it was still definitely a fun movie. Seeing Qui-Gon, Duel of Fates, and honestly, Qui-Gon's a pretty underrated character. So meeting the new characters, because it's the first time we met the prequel characters, was pretty good. So it was a good film, but it's slow, and I'd say it's definitely a film I sleep through sometimes. So that's why I'm gonna put it lower.
This is my Star Wars tier list. I think first off on the tier list is going to be Phantom Menace. Um, Phantom Menace is it's an okay movie. It's pretty boring. I usually sleep through half of it, and it's got a lot of really boring plot lines like Tatooine, other than the pod racing fight. The Duel of Fates was cool. Really liked that, and that's probably the only thing good about it. Next up on the list is going to be Last Jedi. This is definitely worse than Phantom Menace. It just, I feel like the whole movie was kind of pointless. Like, they didn't even succeed in their goal, and nothing happened really other than the death of Luke and a little bit more development with Rey, but that's really all. Next up on the list is going to be Rogue One. Rogue One was pretty good. I don't care for this movie that much, but this movie was enjoyable. Had added a lot to the story. It was nice to see to how they got the Death Star plans and Vader in the hallway scene, which was magnificent. Next up is Solo. This was an okay movie. I don't feel like the only problem is I don't feel like I'm watching a Star Wars movie when I watch this, but I enjoy it somewhat, and it definitely was very well made. Next up on the list is going to be The Force Awakens. Now, this movie was amazing. I really liked this movie in theaters. Really nice to see. Kind of got me into the franchise, and I just loved Force Awakens. They had a lot of stuff to go off of. I feel like they didn't succeed in The Last Jedi. But The Force Awakens was a good start to the sequel trilogy and will always be a very fantastic movie. A New Hope was okay. Obviously, it was a great start to the franchise, but it was really just Luke meeting Obi-Wan, and that's about it. There's not much action other than the Death Star scene, and that's really all. It's just not that interesting. Next up is Empire Strikes Back. This is an amazing movie. Perfect, I mean. This movie's perfectly said, it's perfectly told. I like the story of how they're getting their revenge, and it's just very well done. And the Hoth scene and the Bespin scene are just very nice and well put. Next up is Attack of the Clones. This movie is just straight up okay. I feel like the only thing good about it is the Geonosis, which carries the entire movie, and Dooku. But I usually am pretty bored halfway through this movie until Geonosis. So next up is going to be Revenge of the Sith. I love this movie. It's a perfect movie, for sure. It's got a great story, great ending, great fights, but I feel like it's definitely overrated. It's the most overrated movie in the Star Wars universe, but I think it's pretty good. And then Last Jedi, amazing, perfect movie, obviously. Great story, nice to see Luke and Vader converse at like full power, and just an overall good movie. Tatooine scene was pretty cool. And then last but not least, the Rise of Skywalker. I believe that this was okay. It was a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I saw it like 9 times in theaters, which is ridiculous. But this movie had a lot of cool plot points, and I think it was a good way to end the story. Other than the fact that they kind of ruined Finn's character, and I feel like Rey should have died at the end of it. But other than that, pretty good movie.